So the Orion beings, you can consider us the unascended and them the ascended, or it could be thought of the other way around. However it feels balanced in your system. Um, Whatever the duality is, there's some kind of duality to be confronted, integrated, resolved. And as always, that integration is the key to a greater experience, to more fulfillment on various levels. And this is wisdom that is relatively simple for us to embrace, since we here have history in Orion. I believe it's easier for us to embrace that truth, the truth of transcending duality. And when we feel a need and a lack, giving from that place of need and lack, and watching our need and lack turn into abundance and stability. I mean, when we get into Orion stuff, it gets very emotional. It's very foundational. I think a little more so than some of the other groups that we might interact with. The beings of Orion really remind us of our lowest vibrations that we have left to integrate in a really exalted way. Like the Orion energy presents our shadow material to us in a way which is really magical. So there's a sense in which entering the field of meaning and energy and presence that Orion represents, we're also just moving into our shadow, relating to our shadow. And some really deep fear, really deep longing. A lot of the things that we frankly consider separate from our ascension process. When we enter the Orion fields, we're reminded that that shadow material is the key to our ascension. It's not something that's in the way. It's our most direct path of learning to move through that shadow. So I invite each of us to do that with ourselves, move into our shadow spaces, preferably with compassion. It's also a reminder that often the way to enter higher space is from the inside out. Pardon my cat meowing. So that higher space is not something out there, outside of us, but it's something we approach from within. This is another big lesson of Orion. The being that we know as Buddha has very strong Orion roots. And of course, the main lesson of the being known as Buddha, is everything comes from within. So we're intentionally coming from within, facing the shadow. I'd like to give specific honor to each star of Orion's belt that we mentioned, to Al Nutak, Al Nitak, to Al Nilam, Al Nilam, not sure about pronunciation, and also to Mintaka, Mintaka. Connecting to the reality and experience of that location, environment, energy. Continuing to move into our shadow spaces, into that which we consider to be unintegrated, unevolved, beneath us. Moving deeper and deeper into that awareness. And recalling that in the present, there is nothing to fear. There's nothing to hide. There's no need for secrets, no need for lies. We move into the presence of witnessing ourselves. Being witnessed by ourselves. And as I was saying, you could be the ascended, or you could be the unascended. And we can feel how those perspectives need one another. How there's no ascension without descension. And if it pleases you, you can also remember how our Earth aligns with the Orion system. You can go into your body or into the body of the Earth and sense the parallels. And feel yourself along the plane of the ecliptic, along the line that appears to divide the part of you in day and the part of you in night. You can hang out in that space where they meet. And Orion follows that curve. If you're feeling truly courageous, perhaps take a few moments and regard yourself as an Orion being. And perhaps regard yourself as an Earth being from the perspective of an Orion being. And you can feel the immense love and the immense attraction between the ascended and unascended aspects of yourself. And the immense love and the immense attraction and appreciation between you in Orion and you here under soul, in soul. Your inner teacher meets your inner fool. And your inner elder meets your inner child. You could allow some thoughts or feelings, some experiences to be exchanged between yourself of Orion and yourself of soul. And whatever wounds you're carrying, from whichever pasts you come, this can allow you to take the next steps towards healing, integration, acceptance. You may welcome parts of your soul that may be bound to past scenarios, attached to less beneficial outcomes. You can welcome these lost parts of your soul to be found if you wish. And to be welcomed with love and care. We've missed you. And you've also been with us all along. You might find the places where your hope and your fear meet. Where your ideal and what you think you deserve meet. You can let those points meet. Let there be no limit to the healing and integration you may experience. Let it know no bounds. It's well beyond what the mind can fathom. So let it be fathomless. Let there be forgiveness. and let it be whatever it is. If there are parts of you who want to hold out, who say, I will not forgive, I invite you to welcome them also into your sphere. They too have their places. Those parts of us that accept also need those parts of us that resist. So let yourself be who you are in this moment. If you're curious, you could check in with your parts and places. Check in with your north and south pole. Check in with your earth self, your Orion self. And perhaps within you are the points of light that we call Orion's belt. Perhaps Al Nilam, Al Natak, Mintaka are points within your soul. Never to be separated from your eternal being. The El, the An, the Ra, other names for these stars. These physical places, which are also places in consciousness and places in your own soul. This level of connection will never be denied to you again in any of your present or future incarnations. It's with you for all time. With that immense reassurance, we can allow ourselves to begin our movement back to a direct experience of the earth plane. Again, all of this movement through the vast reaches of space is at the same time very tiny movement within your own soul and within your own body. Start to remember your scale. And perhaps begin to consider that in addition to this cosmic being of Mintaka, Al-Nilam, and Al-Nitak, in addition to that, you're also a humble human being of present incarnation, in a group of fellow seekers, in whatever room or space that you're in. Connecting spiritually and via what we call technology to the other seekers of the group. Remembering when and where and who we are, why we are. Reuniting with the sacred earth temple of your human body. We have come here on pilgrimage to this sacred site. Let's be in our bodily temples in a refreshed way. Coming into the grand hallways of your human body, your royal human presence. As an immense sovereign of this galaxy, also a person. And let's have some time to remember and to integrate our personhood. Let's be very generous in the time that we give ourselves to integrate and feel and sense into some of the layers between a deep meditative state and your waking state. If you want to come back further into waking, you're welcome to. Please don't rush yourself. There's going to be a lot about this experience that you were not aware of while it's happening. But now that you're transitioning back to waking, some of what has just happened will become apparent to you. Please take the time to let it integrate and savor the sensations, images, whatever you have. As your conscious mind wakes out of its sleep and you remember the dream that you just had, it was a very good dream. If you feel like doing some conscious integration, feel free to do it. Maybe just move parts of your body that relate to certain experiences and let it integrate with your body. Or do some writing about what's happened, what was in the dream, or whatever feels good for you to do. I'm having a lot of images of things that I was not aware of at all while they were happening. So if you're like me, that might be happening for you too. There will be many connections to other areas of your seeking and other areas of your becoming. So let it integrate in that way as well. Different pathways of soul retrieval that your mind considers to be separate. This experience can help to show that they're integrated and that all your various interests lead to your enlightenment, that all paths lead to the one. Don't forget to cherish yourself in every aspect. And I'll keep talking as we kind of come back. I also want to open the floor. If others feel like talking, that's welcome. But silence is also welcome. And again, don't cheat yourself out of anything. You can really take your time and savor what's happening. For those who feel like experimenting, there are some fun things that one can do in these spaces between the conscious and unconscious minds. Pardon the background noise on my end. It's get up and dance time for some of my neighbors.